Let's start with a mental image. When you hear the word Buddha, what do you see? Perhaps it's a statue, carved in stone or cast in gold, a figure of absolute tranquility, with a gentle smile and eyes closed in meditation. It's an image of a perfect escape, a man who sat, defeated his inner demons, and was done. But this peaceful, static image is one of the greatest misunderstandings about his life. The truth isn't found only in what the Buddha did under the tree, but in what he did for the next 45 years. He didn't stay. He got up. He walked hundreds of miles on dusty roads, engaging with the world in all its messiness. He taught kings and outcasts, debated scholars, and tirelessly worked to help others find the path he had discovered. He didn't escape the world. He turned and faced it with a compassion that would change history. And that brings us to a crucial question, one that sits at the heart of the spiritual path. It's a question you've likely wondered about yourself. Is the pursuit of enlightenment a fundamentally selfish act? In the oldest Buddhist scriptures, the stated goal is to become an Arhat. The term means a worthy one, a person who has done the profound inner work of uprooting their own greed, their own hatred, and their own confusion. They have put an end to their own suffering. Welcome to the Mindful Compass. Today, we're going to tackle this question head-on. We will explore why this path of profound self-transformation, which can seem so inwardly focused, is ultimately the greatest gift one can offer the world. So, if the path of the Arhat isn't a selfish escape, what is it? To understand its logic, we have to look at its starting point. And the path doesn't begin with the desire for personal bliss or a heavenly reward. It begins with a courageous and clear-eyed look at one simple, universal fact: the reality of suffering. The Buddha taught that the source of our deepest unhappiness and the very fuel for the harm we cause in the world stems from three primary roots within our own minds. In Pali, they are called the kilesas, or defilements. We can think of them as the three poisons: greed, hatred, and delusion. Think about it. Every act of exploitation, from corporate malfeasance to a simple lie, is fueled by greed. Every act of violence, from a harsh word to a war, is fueled by hatred and aversion. And both of these are propped up by delusion, the fundamental misunderstanding of reality that allows us to believe that acting on our greed and hatred will lead to lasting happiness. These poisons don't just harm us, they are contagious. They spill out of us and affect everyone we interact with. Now, to understand the logic of the Arhat path, let's use an analogy for our modern world. Imagine a medic working in the midst of a deadly, contagious pandemic. This medic's deepest wish is to help, to alleviate the suffering of everyone who is sick. But what is the absolute first, most critical, non-negotiable step they must take before they can help a single patient? They must put on their own protective gear. They must ensure they are vaccinated, that their mask is sealed, that they are not themselves
a carrier of the very disease they intend to treat. Would we call this medic selfish? Of course not. We would call them responsible. We would call them wise. A sick medic doesn't just fail to heal, they actively spread more suffering. Their act of self-protection is the fundamental prerequisite for effective and compassionate action. This is the logic of the Arhat path. The disease is the three poisons of greed, hatred, and delusion. The protective gear, the vaccine, is the practice of the Eightfold Path, the training in mindfulness, wisdom, and ethical conduct. To become an Arhat is to become the medic who has achieved perfect immunity.
They are not the one who fled the hospital. They are the one person in the entire hospital who is no longer a vector for the disease. Their very presence is a source of safety. Their actions, now entirely free from the contamination of the poisons, can only bring benefit, not harm. The purification of the self is not an escape from the world's problems. It is the most direct and radical way to stop being part of the problem. This principle isn't just an ancient spiritual idea. We have a powerful modern version of this wisdom that we hear almost every time we get on an airplane. In case of a drop in cabin pressure, put your own oxygen mask on first before assisting others. Why? Because if you lose consciousness, you can't help anyone. Your self-care isn't selfish. It's the foundation for being of any use to the people who depend on you. This is the so what of the Arhat path for us today. How many of us have seen a passionate activist burning with the desire to fix the world's injustices become so consumed by their own anger and burnout that they become ineffective or even harmful to their own cause? How many of us as parents or partners try to create a peaceful home while our own minds are churning with anxiety and stress? We soon discover that our inner state is contagious, and we unintentionally pass our agitation on to the very people we love. The Buddhist teaching suggests that our primary point of intervention is always within ourselves. The most radical, compassionate, and effective thing we can do for the world is to diligently reduce the amount of greed, anger, and confusion that we, personally, contribute to it. Working on your own mind is not a retreat from the world's problems. It is a direct engagement with their root cause. Here is a small practice to bring this idea into your life. We can call it a moment of clear intention. Sometime today, just before you perform a simple action that involves another person, it could be sending an email, making a phone call, or entering a conversation with a family member. Just pause for one single breath. In that pause, gently ask yourself, what is my motivation right now? There is no need to judge the answer. The goal is simply to see it. Am I about to speak from a place of peace and goodwill? Or am I feeling agitated, needy, or frustrated? Just noticing your inner state is the first step. This simple act of awareness can be the space between a reactive,
potentially harmful action, and a response that comes from a place of greater wisdom and clarity. It's how we begin to stop the poisons from spilling out. So, is the path of the Arhat, the path of liberation, a selfish one? The answer, from the perspective of the world's oldest Buddhist teachings, is a resounding no. It is an act of profound spiritual hygiene. It is the deep and necessary work of becoming a source of peace in the world, rather than another source of its contamination. The Buddha was able to walk for 45 years, tirelessly serving the world, precisely because he had done this inner work completely. He was the medic with perfect immunity, able to walk into any ward, treat any patient, and never risk spreading the disease. Your own peace of mind is not a private luxury. In a world of noise and confusion, it is a silent, powerful gift to everyone you meet. What are your thoughts? Does this analogy of the medic change how you see the spiritual path? Please share your reflections in the comments below. If this exploration was helpful, please like this video and subscribe to the Mindful Compass for more ancient wisdom for our modern lives. Thank you for joining me.